Clover Cheese is for those who love life, where everything falls into place and melts away our cares, adding joy and stretching our imagination. Clover, for the love of cheese.
Made with love by Clover.
Thank you so much, boys, for that sports update. But of course, we are back in the kitchen. It's all about Africa. Africa Month is in full swing, which means we are encouraging you to try new recipes, try different languages. It's all about that. And now, whether it's a new language, like I said, or even a recipe, and as we're exploring all things Zimbabwe today, we have a tasty recipe for you to try. It's called Chimodho, also known as Mupotohayi. It's basically a bread that you can bake or steam. And to make this recipe even more delicious, it's already delicious, we're going to be adding the elite taste of Clover cheese into our cheesy Chimodho. And Tapiwa, you're here to show us how. Palesa, you're going to get your hands dirty, girl. You're not here to look pretty. You're here to work, girl. We're putting you to the test.
Well, then, you know what? In the spirit of working, let me just kick it off by saying, Ndepi. Ndepi shamwari ndiripo ribo.
Did it right.
Yes. Okay, so Tapiwa, you're going to be showing us how to make this bread, ne?
Yes.
Now, you know, I'm not one for carbs, but I do love my cheese. So are you gonna? How does one start here, and what do we need?
So the basics you need, you're gonna need some flour, classic requirement for bread, and some milk and some eggs. We've got a bit of salt and sugar and some yeast, obviously, and our Clover cheese, cheddar cheese as well. And ultimately, you want to start off. Actually, I can pass this on to you. If you get the yeast in there, thank you very much. Yeast in the milk.
I mean, Jamie, the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
Go for it.
There we go.
Go for it.
Give us a little stir over here.
Okay.
Then in here I got some bread flour or some cake flour, depending on how you want to do it. And sometimes we'll mix in some maize meal or some millet meal or sorghum meal. And when I pop into that, some sugar as well, and a little bit of salt. And I enjoy working with my hands, so just give that a little mix.
Get in there, get in there.
I always say you're not having fun in the kitchen if you don't get messy.
Exactly. This apron is far too clean, I think.
And speaking about aprons, I feel like I'm like a little flashback to the 90s, denim on denim, looking like a little school girl, you know, like I'm going to a little, maybe grade 10, but I'm here to make business, you know?
You're making bread, so basically this would be your bread for school. So like now the entire outfit is complete with your bread. But I wanted to ask you, when you're making the Chimodho, I'm saying it correctly?
Chimodho, yes.
When do you usually eat it? Is it an everyday thing? Is it for a special occasion?
It's classically just like a loaf of bread. So if you want it for breakfast, for supper, as a little snack with tea, Zimbabweans are big on tea time. So at 10:30 in the morning, maybe 4:30 in the afternoon, tea and a bit of Chimodho. But also, what I really love about, you talk about the steaming and the baking, fire pit kind of cooking, Chimodho is great for that as well. So like for like a braai, brings in a bit of smokiness to the bread as well, yeah.
Definitely. And you were saying earlier on, you got that Zimbabweans add peanut butter to anything. Would I be able to add?
Definitely.
Would I be able to add peanut butter with this?
Oh my goodness, I can imagine
bread.
that.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know, Tapiwa, I don't know if this is
Yeah, you're looking all right. You'll be all right. Yeah, pop in some eggs in there, give that a proper whisk as well.
Okay.
And I'm done over here, so please catch up.
Oh, am I letting the team down? Oh, no,
Come on, girl. No pressure. So obviously with the cheeses, we're using the cheddar cheese, but would you be able to incorporate some feta, or would it?
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think if you do like blocks of feta in there, like little cubes of feta in the dough, almost as you're pouring it into the tin, bit of dough, bit of cheese, bit of dough, bit of cheese. Yeah.
Now, Tapiwa, one thing that I've also realized when it does come to recipes and adding cheeses, it's that it's just versatile. It is flexible, and it doesn't really matter whether it's the strength of cheese, whether it's the texture of the cheese. You almost are able to play, whether it's a Gouda, white cheddar, feta, as Jamie said.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely delicious. But now my next question is, if you almost want to elevate it, taking it all the way from Zim to maybe Greece, could you add some olives?
I don't see why not. Bread and olives is a classic combination. And now you got the feta on my mind, so definitely olives and feta, I think, would be a nice addition. It would be a bit of a shock to someone like my grandmother, but...
She'll probably be like, what are you doing, child? Go back. Like, what? Go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. So you're adding peanut butter, now you're adding olives.
So then I also see that when you were adding your wet ingredients, you created a little bit of a well in the center of the bowl, and then now you're just incorporating the dry ingredients slowly but surely into the wet. Is that just not to overcomplicate the stirring process? I mean, I do not go to the gym, honey, so sometimes it gets a little tough.
Yeah, it's easier work, but also I find you get less lumps when you're mixing your batter in, and you don't overwork the batter as well, because you want the bread to be a little bit soft as well. I enjoy a bit of a soft Chimodho myself, so you want your dough to be too tough, yeah.
And then at what stage do we put the star
I was
ingredient, the cheese?
about to ask, girl, I'm seeing the cheese there. Is this man forgetting the cheese, or are we putting it on top? When do we incorporate the cheese?
I'm gonna pop that in just now, towards the end of mixing in the liquid with the dry.
Wow.
And
So clearly, Utapiwa is no stranger to mixing things up. I know I've never been able to master sadza. Now I know
What is sadza? What is
in
sadza?
Zimbabwe, upoti papa.
Okay, pop.
It's pap. Yeah. So in Zimbabwe they call it sadza, and the consistency, the texture. I mean, I can never get it right, but it seems like you're a sadza master looking at the way that you're mixing together that bread.
Sadza Rio specifically is the one for me. It's sadza made with millet flour. So we're all about dense texture. You should be able to hold the sadza in your hand and use it as a vessel for carrying relishes and sauces and meats, that kind of thing, yeah.
It's a vehicle.
Got it.
It's a vehicle.
I love now our hero ingredient is in now. Obviously, elite taste, elite quality. You just want that texture to come through, like we said, for the Chimodho. And that is the end result over there. How long would it take for the entire process?
So with the yeast, you're going to let your dough maybe double in size, 1.5 to 200 times its original size, and then bake that in the oven. Depending on how you want to go, you can go 180 for about 25 to 35 minutes. If you're going to go a bit harsher with 200, that'll be a quicker loaf.
Perfect.
And you can do it like a slow cook as well. It depends entirely on how you prefer the final ingredient.
Well then,
Pop that.
Jamie,
Pop it
as
in.
we are putting the finishing touches and putting this into the mold,
Get that work, honey.
let South
Get it
Africa
in.
know where they can get this recipe from.
Of course, you can find that on our website, which is expressoshow.com. And we are still going to be sticking with the theme of Zimbabwe today. Lots of recipes coming your way, so you don't want to go anyways. Keep it locked here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Girl, you're getting in the way.
Made with love